All my conventionally unattractive girlies out there, what is the most disheartening thing that guys do when you can tell that they don't find you attractive?
Oh my god, the responses to this are all correct. And I have experienced all of them, like dudes ignoring you, talking over you, insulting you, making it clear that they don't give a shit about your safety, every bit of that. But what makes it even more wild is that I would say that about a third of those guys, after doing all of that bullshit in front of their bros to make it clear that they're not attracted to you, will then find you in private or slide into your DMs and try to hook up. Because something that we don't talk about enough is that oftentimes when it comes to anti-fat bias, it is performative because it's not only socially acceptable, but it's encouraged and it can be a way of bonding between men. So, men especially will often use fat phobia as a mechanism to gain social capital, regardless of whether or not they are actually attracted to fat people.
When you have a crush on somebody and you're not conventionally attractive, it's seen as creepy. I don't change my behavior from the way that I treated them before I had a crush on them. I still treat them like I'm their friend. I joke, I laugh, I clown around. But the second that they know that I have feelings for them, I'm creepy. I'm suddenly terrifying. And it's not just guys that do this either. If a girl hears that I have a crush on a guy, especially if she's friends with that guy, but not necessarily friends with me, I'll get infantilized a lot. And it's always, oh, that poor ugly baby. She has such a crush on you. It's so sad. It's so cute. I can handle being hurt. I can handle people not wanting to be with me. I can't handle being seen as subhuman.
Growing up, I was not very attractive, but what I was still, female, presenting as female. And what that meant was that I was essentially treated like an emotional support pet by most of the men in my life growing up. When they had problems with their girlfriends, they would come to me and they would vent to me about it, and then they'd fuck off again. And it was very exhausting, and it was a bad cycle. It was ongoing. And the way that I'll always remember it was because I had a particularly large derriere. I'd also get used for sex quite a lot by one man in particular, but also by other men in general. I'll always remember the night that I was at a party and I told this boy that I had been in love with him. I hadn't, but I thought I had. Time's running out. I basically that I'd been in love with him for 2 years, and he was like, that's weird, get away from me. And then later in the night, he pulled me into a bathroom and put his penis inside me. So just goes to show, men are dogs.
When people are like, you just do your own thing, don't you? You just don't care. Some people might find it weird or ugly or unattractive, but you just don't. I love that about you.
Well, my girlfriend's in a band. She plays guitar while I sing Lou Reed.
You know how in the movie Duff, the guys only talk to Bianca to try to get with her friends that are girls and only ask her questions about her girlfriends? Yeah, I relate to that a lot. Even with guys I'm friends with, when you're talking to a guy or even a guy you don't know and they only ask you questions about your friend. For example, on Tinder, I had a picture of me and my friend and someone asked for my friend snap. And then someone else did the same thing. Granted, I was friends with both of these guys, but just really?
This kind of applies, but kind of doesn't. Also, I'm not posting this on my main because a lot of the guys that used to do this to me follow me on my main, and I'm not trying to start drama, I just really want to talk about it. I didn't go to a school that had a lot of black people, so a lot of people just felt like they could just say whatever about black people. And the main thing that they would always talk about is just how unattractive they found black women. When I say it wasn't a quick, I just don't find them attractive, no, it would be a full-on discussion, full-on topic, and they would just slander black women. Everything you've ever heard said about black women, they would have to say it. The whole, they're ghetto, they're loud, they're mean, they're toxic, all of that, all the fucking time. My friends were the ones saying this, and they thought, oh, because we're friends, I can give my little 2 cents and it's not gonna do anything. And eventually I started speaking up for myself, but I'm not confrontational, so a lot of the time I would just kind of go home and cry about it because it felt weird,
So this isn't a thing, just more of a story, I guess. This was a couple of years ago when I was 17, but I was with my college friends somewhere and I went outside to pick up a phone call and some guy touched me up. So I was basically sexually harassed, whatever. And it was the first time it had happened to me physically, and I was like in a lot of shock, and I was so angry, and I just like shouted at the guy, blah blah blah. But anyway, I went inside, like back inside, and I went up to this one guy, and I was like, I told him what happened, and he just sort of didn't say anything. I don't know, I expected him to be angry on my behalf or anything, didn't, just dismissed it. And guys, and I'm so outspoken, but I was so embarrassed in that situation, and I just sort of didn't say anything. And I really feel like if I was deemed attractive in that situation, a lot more would have happened, like anger on my behalf, but all I got was like dismissal.
Disheartening thing that guys do when you can tell that they don't find you attractive.
When I started grad school, I went from 300 pounds to 228. I'd always suspected that guys treated me differently, but then I got proof how differently they were treating me. First, I went from invisible to getting greetings everywhere I went, which was very disconcerting at the time. And two, basic things like manners increase 100%. I hadn't even noticed that dudes didn't hold the door for me until I had lost the weight. The first time it happened, I was at a gas station and this guy behind me ran top speed to come hold the door for me. I just got out of the way because I assumed he needed to get to the store, but then he was like, oh no, sweetie, I'm holding the door for you. That lasted until I started gaining weight again. This guy was holding the door. I went through. We smashed into each other. He yelled, what the hell are you doing? I apologized and then held the door for him. I was back to being invisible.
Okay, so when I was in high school, I knew these guys, and they made this list, and this list had all the girls in our grade on it, and it was basically them ranking us based off like personality, body, looks, like smartness, everything. And the way it worked is they had this special code for each girl's name, so just in case anyone found the paper, they wouldn't just be like, oh, what the fuck is this? But they let my friend and I look at the paper, and we obviously figured out the code because they were fucking idiots. And we looked at the rankings, and I was the lowest ranking person out of all of the girls. And I don't know, like, it was upsetting obviously to hear that you were like considered the ugliest, but once again, like, if they were relevant and hot, I would be way more upset, but they're not relevant and I'm doing better.
I literally cannot count how many times a guy has been unnecessarily mean to me because he finds me unattractive. I'll be in a group with really pretty girls, a guy comes over, talks to all the girls except me, I try to talk to the guy to be nice and get the nastiest answers. I guess this is their way of letting me know that I have no chance with them, which is a bold assumption to make that anyone you find unattractive is automatically attracted to you. Not every woman who's trying to be nice to you wants to get down with you like that. First day of high school, I was setting up my locker next to two girls I've known since middle school and a guy from a different town we were meeting for the first time. Great conversation until I realized the guy wasn't talking to us, he was just talking to the two other girls. I was really badly bullied the year before, so I was trying to push myself to be more social, so I tried talking to this guy. The look this boy gives me, you think I insulted his mother, you think I pillaged his village, he was so mean to me, and I felt so fucking ugly. And stuff like that continues to happen even to this day.
Let me start off by saying that I don't think I'm unconventionally attractive. I am black in a world that praises European beauty standards, though. I think the worst thing is when people pretend like I'm not even there, like they just completely ignore my whole person. Like I am invisible completely. And they do this as if they're trying to make it known that like I have no shot with them. Like, baby, you have no shot with me. I didn't want you from the beginning. I just have human decency, so I was treating you with respect, but good to know it doesn't go both ways.
This shit was made for me. I'll go first. So in 8th grade, I moved to a different side of town and I had to ride a new bus. This bus was extremely overcrowded, 3 to a seat, very hot, very packed all the time. I was very shy in middle school, so I was pretty stiff, uncomfortable on this bus. And I didn't take a lot of pride in my appearance because I was 13. I really didn't care, and my dad had died a year prior, so looking my best was not exactly on my priority list. A group of guys every single day would call me statue in reference to how stiff I was, and every single time I got on and off the bus would always be like, there's your girlfriend, bro, there's your girl. 2 years later, one of my bullies, I confronted him, told him I heard it, and he was shocked that I remembered and heard it. Like, you said it in front of me, of course I heard it. Fast forward to my senior year of high school, my main bully's junior year, the guy who started all of this shit added me on Snapchat and tried to make me his boo. When I told him who I was and how badly he had made me feel in 8th grade, he apologized and said he was a completely different person. However, I saw him do the exact same shit he used to do to me in middle school to some other poor girl.
Mine is when you're at a party with a group of your friends and then a guy comes up to you and he's like, hey, what are your names? But he doesn't like look at you, he just looks at the friends you're with and they're like, oh, I'm Ashley, I'm Katie, and I'm Sarah. And then he just looks at you and goes, and you don't know if you should say your name, so you just say like, Olivia. And then he makes conversation with like the three of them and ignores you. And then he'll walk away. And then hours, you'll like see him again. He'll be like, oh, Sarah, Ashley, Katie, what's up? And then he'll be like, oh, I forgot your name. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I forgot. And you're just like, it's Olivia.
If you enjoyed the video, leave a like. And subscribe. We publish new videos every day.